Want to vote on what I should review for my 50th episode? Then click the link to my straw poll page and vote now. Voting ends on October 1st. Beam, shine. It's so nice.
Hey Delmar, what are you up to?
Hi there, Black Cross, and welcome to this lovely, beautiful island of Insert Island name here. It is the most beautiful vacation spot in all of the locations of unspecific reason. The lovely sun that has no clouds in the sky beaming beautiful vitamin C on my skin. But not to mention the fact that even though it is hot, we got a nice cool breeze coming in that helps makes the body cool in a mixture of both heat and coolness. And not to mention the fact that aside from me laying on this lovely bench here, I got a nice cold soda here to mimic the fact that I am not an alcoholic. We also got the nice sound of the waves of the ocean playing in the background. Yes, very nice. And not to mention, if you look over to your left, right, you can see a very beautiful babe running down the coast. Case in point, this is relaxation.
As much as I am a geek of all sorts of trades, such as gaming, computerizing, so on and so forth, you're not really on vacation, my bro. You're wasting electricity beyond the normal capability. Why?
But I'm relaxing.
This isn't vacation, this is just being locked up in your own room, for crying out loud. You can sit there. You can lay there, sit there, as long as you like. I'm gonna go outside and enjoy my dose of vitamin C while you're down there absorbing whatever shit scientists come up with now. By the way, put on some flippin' pants!
What do you mean by not wearing pants? I'm wearing pants like, oh son of a cheesecake. Hello and welcome everyone to the Marr Show. A few episodes ago, I talked about Super Mario 64, one of my favorite games of all time that I recently 100% completed it. It's an episode I'm really proud of because I absolutely adore the Mario series, but I also love the 3D platformers especially because they're so much fun, really challenging, and opens up a lot of innovative gameplay. However, if you really take a look at the 3D Marios, there's usually two different types of them, or at least there's two classes of them. You got the ones that are open world platformers, such as 64 and the upcoming Odyssey, and then you got the sort of linear 3D ones, such as 3D World and the Galaxy games. And I love both, absolutely. However, I'm more of a fan of the whole open world Mario 3D games because it allows for so much possibilities to explore, to find secrets and stuff. Not saying I have anything against the linear 3D games. Heck, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is one of my all-time favorite games, hands down. Like, I just love that genre, like having Mario going about without having like any sort of restrictions or just a one straight narrow path. And unfortunately, if you look at this little graph here, you can see that there's more of the linear 3D games and less of the open world titles, which is why I'm extremely excited for Super Mario Odyssey. I got it already prepaid, and I just hope October gets there quick. But before I actually do get to play that game, I want to cover the other open Mario 3D platformer, which is pretty much the direct sequel to Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine. I remember when this game came out, I rented this game a lot back in the day. I've rented a lot of titles, but I remember this one specifically renting the most because I didn't actually get to own the game until years later when the rental store that I usually go to was shutting down. And yeah, I just remember renting this game the most out of all the titles that I remember renting from that store. It is a really fun game. However, even though I do love the game absolutely, if I had to rank it on my list, on my favorite top 10 Mario games ever, it'll probably maybe in the bottom 10 probably. Because, I mean, there's some good stuff I love about the game, but there's also a few nitpicks that I have that makes it from a great game to just a good game. Mario and the gang are flying out to Isle Delfino for a vacation. However, when they arrive at the airport, there's a huge splash of goop that not only plugged the concrete, but also melted a local plantina. Soon Mario comes across a flood that shoots water and can wash away the goop. After Mario cleans up the airport, he is then arrested and put in trial. It turns out that there's an imposter on loose that's been going around spreading the goop, causing the island to be in danger. So it's your job as Mario to go around the island and cleaning up the goop, collecting the shine spice to restore the power of Isle Delfino and find out who the imposter is. Yeah, so the first thing you immediately gotta realize is that the story is kind of different. I mean, it is the usual kind of typical Mario story where Peach does eventually get kidnapped, but Mario being put on trial and then has to play janitor for community service, and he's pretty much stuck on this island until he gets all the shine sprites back together, cleaning up all the goop and try to restore the habitation of the island. It's really weird to see Mario put in community service, but it makes it stand out more compared to so many other Mario titles in terms of story. This game also introduces a lot of interesting characters, such as Toad Swift, the first appearance of Bowser Jr., and the Flood. What also makes this game stand a bit more compared to the other games is the voice acting. Now, of course, voices in Mario games is pretty common. However, you usually get like Mario saying, "Woohoo! Yippee!" and then Peach going, "Ah, Mario!" and all that generic stuff. But here, there's actually 4 dialogue voices in this game. And it's kind of weird at first, but it's something I really welcome. Though the game itself is beautiful, I have to say. It's kind of hard for me to say which is like the best looking GameCube game, because there's a lot of great looking titles on the GameCube that just looks amazing, that push the hardware to its limits. But Super Mario Sunshine is probably one of my favorite GameCube games in terms of visual style, because graphically it's just very calming and relaxing. One of my favorite locations to go to is actually next to this one beach area where you can actually swim next to this coral rock area, and it's just so beautiful swimming around. Just remember to swim back up in the air for air. That's kind of redundant. Not to mention, Isle Delfino is a really fun hub world. There's a lot of interesting secrets to find. I always love exploring this little plaza, and it's probably one of my favorite hub worlds. I think I actually prefer a bit more than Peach's Castle, which I still love, but Isle Delfino just has a lot more interesting secrets and stuff to do in it. And to add all of that, the music itself is also very relaxing. Pretty much if you're going on a vacation and you just want to have good music to play when you're out there in the sun, just put in some simple tunes from Super Mario Sunshine and relax in all of its glory. Such sweet music. Very relaxing. What? Oh, sorry, crap. I should have paused the music before I did anything. Oh yeah, I was editing. Yeah. What happened? What? Oh. So visually and story-wise, the game is fine, but how about the gameplay? Because that's the most important thing in the game. It's literally in the title itself. It plays out very similarly to Mario 64, but there are a few notable changes. For starters, the controls of Mario is kind of weird. And I mean, they're still fun and works well, but it feels sort of empty in a way, because one move that is lost in this game is the long jump. And I am kind of sad that the long jump is not in this title, because it's one of my favorite Mario moves to do. And not to mention, using the long jump helps extremely to go around places much quicker. There is one method to having a long jump, is that by jumping press B, you do this like belly flop, and it's silly, goofy, and just derpy as heck, but it works. Plus, not to mention, when you do this and there's water or goop, you can actually slide within the water and goop itself, so that kind of helps. It is something worth noting that even though the controls and camera is good in this game, it's not 100% accurate. But then again, Mario 64 didn't have the best camera either, even though the controls were great. But whatever, it's good, but not as tight as you want it to be. However, to make up with the long jump missing, the flood pack actually comes into play, and I absolutely adored the flood pack. It's a really fun device to use to spray water across to clean up the goop, getting across areas and helping to solve puzzles. It's really fun to use. In fact, I would love to just have a real life flood pack. I know there's fan recreations, but I would love to try to make one because it's just so awesome to use, and plus the device itself is pretty cool looking. One of the things that I'll admit that what I do with the flood pack is that if there's an area that has a lot of goop, I usually try to clean up all the goop before I eventually get to the main goal. So before I talk to the hotel manager about a problem, I clean up all the goop. Before I even tackle the goop boss at the end, I just wash away all the goop. I don't know why. I know it's kind of tedious, but I just love just cleaning up, acting like Super Mario McQueen Nature Extreme. When you get flood at first, you get two different types of nozzles. There's the usual spray nozzle that you can squirt the water around to clean up. A hover pack that comes really handy into getting across long jumps across buildings and areas. There's also two other nozzles that you have to eventually unlock throughout the game. First, there's the rocket nozzle, which is my least favorite, but it helps you get to high areas. And then there's the turbo nozzle, which makes you go extremely fast, and it can actually knock down barriers to get into other areas such as secret levels or into one of the areas like the judge office or the police hall. It's a really fun device, and you get a lot of fun creative levels that you can use the flood in amazing ways, like trying to go into higher terrains or solving a puzzle with the squirt nozzle. And not to mention, one of the things I love about this game are the bosses. Now the bosses themselves, compared to like 64 and Galaxy, I actually prefer the bosses here the most because they're really challenging. One of my favorite bosses from this game is the Phantom Manta. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but the Phantom Manta. It's a silhouette sting-like creature which you can only defeat by spreading water above it. And when you do, it tears apart into smaller sections and smaller sections until it multiplies itself. And when you get to the smallest forms, all of them comes towards you, and it's really challenging and can be difficult at times, especially whenever you get hit and you bounce all over the place and die. But it's a really challenging, fun boss fight. Aside from the bosses and doing your usual stick platforming, there's also some fun mini games such as surf riding on these little bloopers or doing this rocket roller coaster challenge in the park. In some levels, there's this one area that you can go to that's actually a secret level, and in this, Shadow Mario steals the flood pack, and you have to platform through this Mario Galaxy-esque level to get the shine sprite at the end. Although I will admit, there are some missions in some of these levels that are kind of redundant in a way. One of them specifically is the Shadow Mario. In every single level, you have to face Shadow Mario off, which sounds cool. However, you tend to realize that all you do is like a game of tag, where you'll go around spreading the water nozzle on Shadow Mario to make him fall down. Sure, there may be some levels where Shadow Mario will paint goop to distract you, but most of the time it's just running around chasing after him, spraying water at him before he falls down. And it's kind of redundant and just plain easy and just kind of a nuisance. Not to mention, this isn't like a nitpick, but this is something that I did notice, was that in Mario 64, in a level, you could pretty much get the star in any order. So if you're like in Bob-omb Battlefield, instead of going to face King Bob-omb first, you can either get the red coins, release the chain chomp and stuff like that. That makes it more open-ended that you could do anything in any order. But with Sunshine, you have to do things in order. You can't like start the level and try to get the shine sprite that's like in episode 7 or in episode 6, because each sprite comes in a different event, which I mean isn't a huge nitpick, but it's not as open as 64. Now, when I played Super Mario 64 a few months ago, I wanted to 100% complete the game, and I did, and it was fun, it was rewarding, there wasn't much I complained about. But with Sunshine, I mean, I got about maybe 80 shine sprites, but I didn't really want to get all 120, mostly because some of them are a bit redundant to get, but more specifically, the blue coins. Now, the blue coins, they're a nuisance. They really are a nuisance. There's 240 blue coins all around in this game that you have to find either by spreading graffiti, sometimes they could be in a hidden area they have to get to, and a lot of times there's also these time trial graffiti marks they have to spray, run over to the other side to get the blue coin, and it sounds fun, but it does get repetitive getting in 240 blue coins. That's too much. That's too much, man. But what exactly do you do with the blue coins? Well, you can actually exchange them with 2 raccoons in a Delfina Plaza for shine sprites. There's about 24 shine sprites out of the raccoons that you could get in exchange with the blue coins. Which, I mean, is interesting, but at the same time, it's kind of redundant trying to get the blue coins anyway. So if you're going for a completionist route, you're gonna have a rough time trying to get all of them. Actually, this is something that I kind of thought of when I was playing the game, and it's kind of like a nitpick with the story in a way, because we see that the shine sprites are what gains the power of the Delfina Plaza. That because when you open the game and you're exploring Delfina Plaza, you realize that the sun doesn't shine all the way, but when you get all the shine sprites, more of the sunshine bursts out, so you could tell that the shine sprites are the source of power in the plaza. But the raccoons are holding 24 shine sprites. Your island is in danger, the sun is not shining at all. Why are you holding the shine sprites? Give them to the people, to the shine sprite entity of entityness or something. Don't hold it for your greedy deeds. But the raccoons are not guilty of this. There's also local penalties as well that hold shine sprites. Like in one area in the plaza, you have to destroy boxes for this one gentleman. And if you do, you get a shine sprite. Why are you holding the shine sprites? You're supposed to give them to the people. And it's not just in the plaza itself. And around different areas, like in the Rico Harbor level with the aforementioned blooper level, the guy gives you a shine sprite for beating his course. Why are these people holding the shine sprites? I mean, you can say they're holding them to protect them from the Shadow Mario, but even still, if you're going to give it to Mario anyway, why not just have the shine sprites and donate them to the Great Shine Sprite Bell Tower or something? It's something that makes no sense whatsoever. They know the shine sprites, so why hold them instead of giving them to help gain power to your island? It absolutely makes no sense, and I thought way too hard about this. Oh gosh. I am such a fanboy! So Super Mario Sunshine is a really fun game. I do love it. Despite some of its shortcomings, such as the aforementioned blue coins, which is kind of annoying to get, the tiny nitpick of why some of the locals are holding shine sprites instead of... Okay, I ranted enough. And not to mention, some levels are kind of redundant, and the controls, if the flood pack is missing, makes Mario feel like it's missing a programming or something. I don't know what that means, but I still had a good time with this game, and I think it's a fun, excellent game that you should pick out. Graphically, the game is beautiful and relaxing with the whole tropical island feel with the nice relaxing music, and a lot of levels are still fun despite a few shortcoming levels such as the Shadow Mario, for example. The flood pack is easily one of my favorite gadget gizmos in like all of gaming. It's just really fun. Seriously, I would love to have a recreational real life flood pack to run around. Actually, if I run around with a flood pack, people will be asking a lot of questions. And it's just a fun game, and not to mention the story itself makes it stand out a little bit more compared to some of the other Mario titles. Even if it's just Mario being held hostage to do community service for a crime that he's not committed. At least it makes it stand out more than 3D World or any of the other Mario titles. So I do recommend picking it up. It's a fun game that I enjoy, but it does have a few flaws that makes it not as highly regarded as one of my favorites compared to Galaxy 2, 64, or RPG. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. So if you would like to leave your thoughts on today's game, just comment below. And if you want to get this game, it's a fairly common title. In fact, it was even on the Player's Choice label for selling over 1 million copies. So I definitely recommend picking this game up whenever you have a chance. I know some people don't really like the game because it is a bit different and it's not as tight as Mario 64, but it still have a good time. But of course now I just have to wait till October for Mario Odyssey to come down and bless my solar wave for being the best game of the year. Is it October? Please tell me it's October. No, it's September 3rd. Dang, I have to wait a whole month to get the game.